Probably looks like we're fiddle farting around out here today when you see what this project's going to be, but that right there is our pump supply line. And that little break in the trees right there, at the base of it is where the well is. This is the steep path that we went down to bring that line up and bring the power down to that sub panel. And you can see I've got them exposed here. This is the conduit for the power, goes up through here and up to the shop. And I think we ended the conduit right in here, and from here it's buried line direct. And we got a little bit of a problem that we've created, I guess you'd say. We upgraded that pump from a 1-horse to a 2-horse and trying to get better flow. And we kind of just opened up a can of worms to everything we were finding. We were finding what I thought was like a clay buildup, kind of an irony colored clay buildup in the line. And we were flushing some of that out of the well as we saw we had a layer in the bottom of the tanks. We really thought maybe it was just like dissolved clay kind of sediment. And I haven't bothered to test it. I'm not going to test any of it. I'm not worried about it in that regard. But when I got into the tanks to clean that out after we got the pump reinstalled, and it felt slimier. It almost felt like maybe there was a bacteria, some kind of thing like that in there as well. And again, I'm not worried about testing it or anything like that. But we got all that flushed out, and then we went ahead and bleach shocked the well and the tanks and the lines just to be sure and make sure everything's safe and good and clear that way. But in all of that, what we found, I did some more, I guess, specific measuring because we were going off of what we approximated. When we bought the pump, we thought we were at 175 feet elevation from the wellhead all the way up past the shops to the tanks. After I got the hydrant installed at the wellhead, I put a pressure gauge on it, and that's a pretty surefire way to guarantee what your elevation change is, because gravity pressure is very, very specific. And based on the pressure reading at the hydrant down there, we're actually 225 feet elevation. So that extra 50 feet ahead makes a difference. And so does the distance that this pipe travels. We put measuring tape to it all the way back to the tanks, and we taped out exactly the path and measured it down all the way down. And that 1-inch CTS line goes 715 feet from the wellhead to the tanks. So, a couple of numbers that were critical are off for what we sized the pump with, and that's making an effect on what we're getting at the pump, or at the tanks. When I sized the pump with the pump supply company, they figured that we would make 15 to 16 gallons a minute at the tank based on everything. And what we actually measured was something closer to like 7.5, 8. And then I did some more calculations of what this would be, what the change would be from what we thought we had versus what we actually have going to the tanks and from the well, you know, the 50 feet difference of elevation. The longer distance, I thought we were somewhere around 500 feet length on this supply line, but it's 715. So an additional 200 feet of 1-inch pipe, trying to build that velocity creates a backflow resistance. And so there's, you know, it's that whole small straw problem when you're trying to suck through a small straw, like one of them drink pouches versus a big soft drink straw or something, you know. All these things, after I did the calculations again with these correct numbers, then what we found is that we should be getting around 7 to 8 gallons per minute based on the pump curve of that pump. So we decided one thing we can do to fix that, to help for at this stage, I don't want to dig that whole line all the way back to the well and send it all the way back up. 700 feet distance, there's a really steep patch through here. I've got buried wire in here too. So it could do it, but it would end up being just redoing the entire project through here. And I just don't feel like it's necessary for what we're trying to achieve. What we've decided we're going to do is we're going to cut off this 1-inch line and we're going to change to 1.5 inch CTS, because right here in the road, which is just another, I think when I measured from the center of the road up there down the slope to here, we were like 55 feet distance, and we're 75 feet over there to that point right there where there's kind of a valve. I don't know if you can see that valve in there or not, but I put a valve in line just to be able to shut it off while we were doing the diagnostics on the pump and stuff in the well. So at any rate, we're gonna go right here where the main line is. The main line's 1.5 inch CTS all the way back to the tanks. We're gonna abandon this other 375, well, I guess it's actually more than that. It was gonna be 360 feet we were gonna take out, but then there's about 70 feet here. So about 400 feet that we're gonna take out of the 1-inch restriction. We're still gonna keep it in line down here, but we're gonna change over sooner and jump into that 1.5 inch main line so we don't have that restriction of the flow. And that should make a substantial increase in the amount of volume we can get, which is also gonna change the amount of power draw on the pump and bring everything back into a much, much better position. So I was gonna take from that valve and just pull this back and go up here with it. But I thought, well, that's another 75 feet I could gain back in larger pipe. So I'm going to take it off right here and just go from 1 inch to 1.5 inch and then bring it up here and tie into our main line with 1.5 inch. A lot of rambling, a lot of explanation. It's difficult to try to hold the camera unless you have it set out somewhere to see this, and it's still complicated unless it's like time lapse. So I'm just trying to give you some updates of what's happening, what we're going to do. I'll get this, I think at this point where I've got it exposed, I'm now pumping with the well, so I want to make some water in the tanks while I go run some errands. So while that's doing, I'm going to go get some fittings here and a T fitting for up there. And then I think what we'll do is, I've got the other hoses, so I think we're good, and we'll just get this tied in there. I think I'm going to pick up a hydrant though, a yard hydrant, and out here where that line comes down from the tank, rather than just abandoning the other 300 feet that goes up, I'm going to kind of dig this out right in here a little bit and bring that uphill side over, and I'm going to put a yard hydrant out here on this shoulder. And I just thought it might be nice to have some water out here as a just in case. You know, we got our solar panels out there. God forbid anything were to happen that way and you had like a panel short or something like that and burn up, cause sparks and fire or anything like that. It just would be handy to have some water here. We have grazed this hillside through here a time or two, and that would also be a convenient spot to put a trough and a float valve if we ever felt like doing that. So at any rate, that's what I decided. Yard hydrant, fittings, 1.5 inch up. Okay, from this angle, I can probably show what I was explaining earlier. See, the tanks are clear up there. And the line, the main line and the pump line, both come from the center of the tanks down to where that hydrant, down through the old grade of what was underneath here, and then here. And right around here is where they split. The pump line comes around this side and drops down over to where I was standing down below. The main line comes through this truck and around the front of the shop and then down the road. And it then travels all the way down the road in the center of the road, clear down almost to the hay shed, the bottom, the equipment shed. So what I found was, because these two lines parallel all the way back here, I can eliminate 410 feet, I think it was 410 feet of that restriction just by coming straight up that hill to the shop and tying into the main line. So now this pump line that comes down through here and splits off here, that's going to feed that other hydrant as if it was run for a new service line or something. So anyway, that's the reasoning that we're trying to, it has to make a huge impact. That's over half of the line taken out that's restricted line and going to full flow line. So I've got the tanks turned off and I've got a measurement on the tank so I know exactly what my level is. And then I came and opened up this hydrant as a air vent essentially. So now I've allowed air in through that hydrant to feed down those lines. And I'm going to completely empty the main line and the pump line so that I can do all the work I need, not have to worry about water, get down there and get all the connections made. And then we'll probably, to bleed the line, this pump line, the old pump line will be a hydrant. That'll be easy to bleed. I'll just turn on the hydrant until it runs full. But to bleed the main line and get all the air out, then when I turn on those tanks, I'll just go down and make sure those sprinkler timer in the yard is turned on again. And that way that valve is open. And as the water comes in from up here, it'll just push the air out the line all the way down and fill that main line back up. And once I see water running again in those sprinklers, steady, then we'll turn them off. Then we'll come up here, measure the tanks again, make sure we have a dead level, and fire the pump. Give it an hour minimum. And that gives me like how many gallons per hour. And if we have enough sun and enough daylight by the time I get done with this, I might run it for 2 or 3 hours. I'd love to run it for like 3, 4, 5 hours from one measurement to 4 or 5 hours in, so I can have a really good measurement of how much water we're putting into the tanks at that point. But anyway, that's the game plan. We're all set now. I've got all my pipe connections set, so we're ready to go down in there and start cutting and putting things together. Obviously, we're getting on to sunset now. It's been a little bit hectic, but we did get this tied in. That's the main line. Somewhere here, right here, you can see that's my water line ribbon. So I put that about 18 inches above the water line. You can just see it coming out of the ground there when I did the main so that I'd know where I could find it. But anyway, we've got that down and connected. This was a little bit fun. It's so soft because it's all that white sandy looking stuff. So anyway, it's all connected. Tanks are back on. We're going to have to work through the aeration and the air bleeding of things and get that done tomorrow, probably, before I'll be able to run the pump and get a water feed check, because obviously there's not enough sun to make enough power to run the pump for an extended amount of time without being empty on batteries and running the generator, and I don't want to deal with that. So we're going to bury this up and we'll do a water test tomorrow. We have a priority shift all again. The last like 10 days we've been dealing with power problems, water problems. What we come to find out is our pump, our new pump, something's up with that. It's drawing twice as much power as it should. We had a spike when it tried to kick on, and I'm pretty sure that's what caused it, but you know, hard to tell. But blew out our large inverter that runs the shop and the pump and all these others. So we had to make a trip for power inverters. And with that, we had a couple of situations there where the heat coming off the inverters trying to run that much power is pumping too much heat into that upstairs room. The new inverters, the new tech is good for outdoor mounting, which would eliminate a lot of that excess heat. But that means in order to mount them outdoor, they got to go on the wall out here, which means we got to have a roof cover. They can be outdoors, but they need to be out of the direct sunlight and not getting actively rained and snowed on. So chain of events of things. We got the pump situated. They sent it a warranty. We got it put in yesterday and everything's tip top there.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
All the changes and the upgrades and the other things we did change and checking.
You got to tell them from how many gallons per minute to what we're on now.
So we went from around 4 gallons a minute this spring is what we were pumping, and trying to get through all these gardenings with it. When I measured it, I figured about 13.8 gallons a minute. So basically 14 gallons a minute delivered. That's measured at the tanks. So such a huge difference. I watered today, had 2 sprinklers on in a couple of different gardens at the same time, and went up and checked the water after 45 minutes of water, and it hadn't even moved. It hadn't even come down in the tanks yet. So it was keeping up. Such a huge improvement.
Yeah,
so
huge. So now the next improvement is...
Yeah, now we got to get the power back to stable and upgraded. I mean, luckily we had 2 inverters running in there, one for the houses and one for the shop. So I was able to rewire it to supply for both, and we've been getting by. But it's a lot smaller inverter. It's only 6,000 watts, so we have to be careful how we load that. So the new ones are way bigger improvement, lots of cool tech updates, but they're going to get mounted there. So we got to get going on this roof. So that's what we did.